Hi, welcome back to our class, Psych 5, Personal and Social Awareness. And this week, we are going to review for the final exam. So the final exam will be next week from Monday to Wednesday. And this week, we are going to review about the final exam. And first of all, let's share some information about the final exam. So first of all, in the exam, there are 40 questions in total. And most of the questions are multiple choice questions. So in our class, we only have one final exam. So in the final exam, the 40 questions are assessing the knowledge about everything, about all the chapters that we learned from the class so far. During the 40 questions, most of them are multiple choice questions, but there are a few of the questions are multiple answer questions. It means that you may choose more than one correct answer for that one question. Not only choose one of the four options, but you need to check all that apply. And there are a few of them are filling in the blank questions. So it means that you need to type down the correct answer for those questions. But there are only a few of them. Most of the questions are multiple choice questions. And this exam is 80 points in total. So 80 points accounts for about 27% of the total score. So the total score is 300, 80 out of 300 is about 27% of the total score, just to let you know. And we have in total 40 minutes to finish this exam. So 40 questions for 40 minutes. All the exams, all the questions will be on Canvas. So you need to go to Canvas and find the exact, find the right quiz, which is called the final exam. So you find the final exam in the quiz section, and also you can find the final exam in the module, the last module that we have in our class. So you can click the final exam and will pop up the new page. And it will show some necessary information that you didn't know. And you can start to take that exam. And once you start to click that button, you have 40 minutes to finish that exam. You cannot pause that exam. You need to take the 40 minutes. So prepare the exam in advance. Like the next question is like what time and day to take the exam. The time and days are flexible. It means that you can take the exam starting from 12 a.m. on May 10th, 2021 till the last minute of May 12th, 2021. It means that you have 72 hours to take the exam. So starting from the midnight of May 10th, the first minute of May 10th, you can start to take the exam. It's available online. Right now, you cannot open the final exam. You cannot see anything inside because that assignment or quiz is locked. And it'll be open, will be unlocked starting from the first minute of May 10th. But you need to take the exam before the last minute of May 12th, which is midnight of May 12th, midnight of Wednesday, next week. So starting from the first minute of Monday next week, and you can take an exam, but you need to take the exam before the last minute of next Wednesday. So that's some basic information about the final exam. So next, let's go over each chapter and based on the review guide. So we have a study guide or review guide for the final exam online, and you need to able to find that file, doc file, in the files section of our Canvas. And also there is the study guide attached in the module before the final exam. So the final exam is in the last module, and the review guide is attached in the module that is prior to that the final exam module. So if you have any trouble finding the review guide, please contact me and I can show you where the file is. If you have any difficulty finding the final exam, please contact me. I can show you where the final exam is on Canvas. So let's go over the study guide. On the left, there is a study guide. It's a doc file, and on the right there, you can see these are the slides for chapter 1 right now, and we can go over each item. So for chapter 1, there are 4 questions in the final exam, and you can see here it listed there are 4 questions for chapter 1. Chapter 1 is about the general guideline for this course and introduce some theoretical frameworks. So let me see. First thing you need to know about the questions that the positive psychology asks. Where is it in the slides? Let us find it. Yeah, you can see in the slides what questions to ask for positive psychology. The first question is what works rather than what does not work. And the second question to ask in positive psychology is what is right with people rather than what is wrong with people. So positive psychology basically focuses on what is right, what works, what is good, what can improve our life, and so forth. And the next item is self-actualization. It's a concept in humanistic approach of psychology. So let's go to humanistic psychology. So in this slide 10, self-actualization is a tendency toward fulfilling our potential, toward becoming what we are capable of becoming. So it's a concept under the assumption that every individual is an organism. So that's a basic assumption of humanistic approach. We are all organisms. So organism is a system that is evolving, that is changing all the time, that is growing. It means that this system is changing toward a positive direction. It is becoming better and better. And a lot of elements just coming and a lot of old elements pass away. And so because of that, every human has a tendency inside of their life. It's called a self-actualization. That's a tendency to become what we can become the best. And the next item is you didn't know who developed the person-centered approach. So that's also a person, really important person in humanistic psychology. That person is, let me see. Not him, not Maslow. Is Carl Rogers. So Carl Rogers developed the person-centered approach in humanistic psychology. Okay, the next item is hierarchy of needs. So you didn't know about this theory. It's a theory developed by Abraham Maslow. So it's a theory based on the the assumption that people need to survive, so that they have needs. They have some kind of needs to fulfill so that they can survive in the environment. And then they do not only survive, but they can also flourish, they can grow. But they must satisfy those needs. So what are the needs? Those needs are clustered on these hierarchies, on these levels. So it's like a pyramid, 5-layer pyramid. There are 5 of them, 5 hierarchies. On the bottom, there is a physiological needs. That's a needs just for survival of the physical body, like the need for water, need for food, and the need for warmth, and so forth. And the hierarchy above it is safety. It means that we need to keep safe. We need to keep ourselves from those dangerous elements. We need to have a house to live in, and so forth. And the hierarchy above safety is love and belonging. So besides safety and physiological needs, we need relationships. We need to feel beloved. We need to feel loving others. We need to belong to some kind of social group so that we have a sense of belonging. We belong to some kind of a society, social group. And the hierarchy above love and belonging, that is esteem needs. It's a need for achievement. That's a need for gaining achievements, and also being competent, being able to do a lot of things, being respected by other people, have the fame, have the social status in the society, those kind of needs. So all those needs are clustered under esteem needs. And on the top level, on the top hierarchy, there's self-actualization. We just talk about self-actualization. So finally, we can, as an organism, we can actualize ourselves. We can become the best of us. We can become what we are capable of becoming. We can actualize our full potential. And also why there are on the hierarchies, that Maslow believed that the needs on the lower levels, on the lower hierarchies, must be satisfied first, so that people start to seek the needs on the higher hierarchies. For example, if the physiological needs are satisfied, people start to seek the safety needs. Otherwise, if the physiological needs are not satisfied, people do not care about their safety, because their survival is the more primary, is the first goal for them in that situation. If the safety and the physiological needs are all satisfied, they start to seek love and belonging. They start to see, okay, where do I belong? I want other social support. I want love from others. If they get love, if they can belong to kind of social groups, they start to seek the needs for having achievements, being able to do a lot of things, and get the social status in the society. And all these needs, all the needs on the lower 4 hierarchies are satisfied, they start to seek the self-actualization need. So that's why they are on hierarchies. That's why it's like pyramid shape. People climb onto the bottom level first, and they climb to the second layer, and they climb to the third layer. It's like that. But you can see that a lot of people criticize this kind of a theory, because they believe that, or they found that people may have the needs on different hierarchies at the same time. It may not be the case that people need to satisfy the lower level needs first, and they can start to seek the higher level needs. It might be the case that they seek all these needs at the same time. They want water, they want safety, they want love, they want the achievement at the same time. It is also possible. So here is a controversy in this theory, but we know the basic stuff about this theory. And the next one is about fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset, that's about the research, the findings by Carol Dweck. So she found there are two mindsets in people. So some people have fixed mindsets, some people have growth mindset, and also sometimes for one person, that person has a fixed mindset at this moment, but next moment that person may change to the growth mindset. So one person may have two mindsets in different moments, and or they have different mindsets for different stuff, for different things. So what is growth mindset? Growth mindset is the belief is that is a situation that people believe their own personal qualities can be changed, can be improved, can be better. They can be smarter. They can be stronger. They can be more able to do something. They can be better at mathematics. They can be better at the sports. They can be better at playing musical instruments and so forth. So they believe their own personality or their personal qualities or their intelligence or other characteristics can be changed. They are not fixed. They are malleable. They can be forced. They can be changed. They can be improved. So growth or improvement are possible for them. But for fixed mindset, it's another belief system. People with fixed mindset believe that their own personal qualities are not malleable. They are fixed. They're just like that. If they are smart forever. If they are not smart, they believe that they are not smart forever. Their intelligence cannot be improved. They cannot be smarter. So growth or improvement is not really possible for them because they believe that their own personal qualities are not changed, cannot be changed, cannot be improved. They cannot work hard to be smarter or to be stronger or to be whatever. So because of their different mindsets, because they have different beliefs, they do different things. They have different consequences. For example, for people who have growth mindset, usually they have the goals to learn. They have learning goal because they believe that they can be better. So they work hard to learn how to be better so that they can grow. Their goal is to grow, to improve. So their focus is to focus on the details of the task that they are doing because they want to learn, they learn from the process. They learn from the doing it. If they fail, they think that they need to try harder because they believe that they can improve. Failure is a signal that they did not try hard enough, so they need to try harder. Therefore, their performance becomes better and better because they try harder, they put effort in it. They focus on how to improve their performance. But for a mindset, fixed mindset, their goal is to show the performance, to show others, to show themselves what their performance is, because they believe that their abilities, their personal characteristics are fixed, are set. They cannot improve their performance or capabilities. So their goal is to show the performance, show others and self that they have a good performance because they want to be better. The only way to be better is they are good already beforehand. So they focus on the result of tests. They want to see how they do, how well they perform. So they focus on the results of everything that they do. If they fail, they believe that they are not good enough. They are not smart. They are not strong. And also they are anxious about failure because they cannot help improve their performance. They don't believe that. Actually, they can, but they don't believe it. They believe what they believe is that what they do indicates what they will do in the future because their abilities are set, are fixed. That's their belief. The result of that is their performance may become worse because they do not focus on how to improve their abilities, how to improve the skills to perform the tasks. But they focus on the results and they are anxious about the failure if they are not satisfied with their performance, so that because of anxiety, because they do not try harder, so that their performance might become worse. So that's the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. So next, let's go to chapter 2. So in chapter 2, it is about a review of developmental psychology. Specifically, it is a review of childhood and adolescence. There are also 4 questions in this chapter. There are 4 questions coming from this chapter. So first of all, you need to know the Erickson's psychosocial view of human development. That's a really big theory, and you need to know about it. So the basic assumption is that in his theory, there are 8 life stages of human development. So people develop in 8 stages. And people can grow. It's an organism. People can grow throughout these 8 stages. And also in every stage, there are major tasks for people to finish. And there in every stage, there's a major developmental task for people to finish. If they cannot overcome the difficulties when finish this task, they have the crisis. And because they cannot finish that task, they have the crisis. If they can successfully finish the tasks in that stage, they can go to the next stage. So you can see in this table here list the every stage and the ages for that stage and also what the developmental task is. So the first stage is from birth to 1 year old. It's a it is a stage to build the trust towards their caregivers. They need to have a sense of trust toward their caregivers so that they can trust the caregivers to take care of them, and they feel safe to explore, to grow, and so forth. And the second stage from 1 year old to 3 year old, the major task is to build a sense of independence and autonomy. So they need to learn how to do many things by their own. They need to learn how to independently do a lot of things. For example, how to eat independently, how to drink independently, how to go to the bathroom independently, how to play independently, how to sleep independently, and so forth. And the third stage from age 3 to 6, it is the time to build, to take initiative, to have the abilities to take initiatives on some activities. They need to initiate the things that they want to do. If they want to do something, they start to do it. That's the ability they need to have in this stage. And the next stage is from stage 7 to 11. It is a stage to build confidence, to build self-confidence, to build the competence in some kind of tasks. They in this stage, they need to build a sense that they can trust themselves. They believe themselves. They believe that they are capable of doing what they want to do, basically. The next stage is in adolescence, is from age 12 to 18. That's a stage to like assimilate it into the larger society. They start to think about who they are in the society. They start to build identities. They start to try different roles in a society. So this stage, building the identity is the most important task to finish. And also in the next stage, in the stage 6, from 19 to 29, that's for a young adulthood. The major task for this stage to finish is to building intimate relationships, building meaningful relationships with other people, such as getting married, such as building a family, such as getting involved in romantic relationships, such as building friendships, such as building relationships with colleagues at work. And the next stage 7, is from 30 to 64. So it's a middle adulthood. In this stage, the task is general activity. It means that basically the concern about how well they can contribute to the society, or they can contribute to their family, to support their family. How to have achievements, how to make achievements to make their families live well, or make some really good contributions to the society. And the last stage is in the old adulthood, from 65 years old or above. So in this stage, they have almost gone the entire life, so that they want to make sense of their life, their entire life. They want to find the meaning in their life. They want to find a meaningfulness, have a sense that their life is meaningful, is worthwhile. They have a fruitful life so far. So that's what they want to achieve in this stage. And more details, you can see the textbooks, or see the slides, or see the recordings of previous lectures on Canvas. And next theory that you need to know about, the next big theory is attachment theory. It's a theory that describes how babies, how young children develop the psychological connection or emotional connection with their caregivers. So there is a very strong emotional bond between this baby, between this child and his or her caregiver. And the bond provides the child a source of security. So the caregiver is a source of security for that child. So that child feel the sense of security, feel the sense of safety, so that they're able to explore the world, able to play, to to grow, have intellectual, physical, or other kinds of growth or development without concerning about the safety or security. Attachment is also a blueprint for future relationships. It means that every relationship that people build in the future actually come from the attachment that they built when they are really young. And there are 3 types of attachment: secure attachment, anxious ambivalent attachment, anxious avoidant attachment. So make sure that you know which each attachment is, and the characteristics of each attachment, and also the consequences of each attachment. So for secure attachment, people, the children feel safe. They believe that their caregiver can provide a sense of security, and they're happy when the caregiver is present. Where they are angry, they're crying, they're upset when the caregiver is absent. But when the caregiver comes back, they're happy again because they believe that their sense of security comes back. The next one is anxious ambivalent attachment. They have a really conflicting attitude toward their caregiver. They want to see the caregiver as a secure base, but they cannot. They fail to do so. They have a feeling that their caregiver is not that reliable. Sometimes the caregiver can provide a sense of security, but sometimes they cannot. So their attitude toward their caregiver is ambivalent. So that's why when the caregiver comes back, they're angry and helpless. They do not turn back to be happy because they feel like they're still anxious, and why the caregiver is left, why the caregiver left, and there's a lot of a sense of security. The third type of attachment is anxious avoidant attachment. So this kind of children, they avoid the caregiver because they don't believe that the caregiver provides a sense of security. So that they avoid or ignore the caregiver. That caregiver is not important at all for them because they cannot get anything from that caregiver. So that they do not have a sense of security. They do not explore the environment whenever the caregiver is present or absent. So they do not have a lot of emotions when the caregiver leaves or comes back. So you can see that how the children view the caregiver. And because of different attitudes toward the caregiver, there are different kinds of attachments, and they bring different consequences. For secure attachment children, they can build good relationships with others. They have the ability to trust others when they grow up. But for anxious ambivalent attachment or anxious avoidant attachment style children, when they grow up, they cannot trust others because they lose the ability. Because the first connection, first relationship they build is not that good, so that they cannot trust others. It's really difficult for them to maintain really good intimate relationships with others. So you need to know 3 types of attachments and know about the attachment theory. And also the next one is about characteristics of early childhood. So early childhood, in what ages is early childhood? From age 2 to 6. Basically, they are toddlers. For Erickson's stage, that's stage 2 and 3. That's the time to build the ability to have a sense of autonomy and have to initiate the things that they want to do. The characteristics of this stage is about be autonomous, to take initiatives, so that they engage in playing. For why they are engaging in playing? Because they try out different possibilities. They experiment with different activities. They want to test their boundaries of abilities. They want to see what they can do, so that they create and try new possibilities. They found out what they can do, and also they have a moral development. They start to have a sense of what is right and what is wrong, and then they have more initiatives. Means that they start to do things independently if they want to do it. They imitate others because they learn, and they learn more social skills. They start to know their own genders, and they learn language. These are the characteristics of early childhood. And also we need to know about the characteristics of adolescence. Adolescence from, so let's skip a middle childhood. Adolescence from 13 to 20. That's about Erikson stage 5. So in this stage, they try hard to build identities. They explore different roles because they want to know who they are, or how they behave in a society. Also, they form really clear gender identities. They know whether they are female or male. And also they learn to build intimate relationships with others. And starting from this stage, they are more influenced by peers in the groups instead of by parents. So before that, they are more influenced by parents. Their world is in the family, but right now in this stage, their world becomes the whole society, the entire society. So they are more influenced by a lot of people around them. And they start to separate themselves from the family and build their own independent identities. So these are the characteristics of adolescence. That is chapter 2. And right now, let's go to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about the review for the adulthood, and also there are some other concepts that are really important to know about. First one, autonomy. So when we become adults, we can have autonomy. So what is autonomy? That is really most important feature for a mature adult. When we are mature, when we become real adults, we have autonomy. We have a sense of autonomy. In my understanding, autonomy means that we can live based on our own willingness or based on our own volition, based on our true heart. If we really want to do something, we can do it. That is autonomy. That's a signal for maturity. And also autonomy means that we can take the responsibility for the consequences of our own choices. Autonomy means that we can make choices and we can bear the consequences of our own choices, because every choice that we make brings consequences. We can take we are responsible for those choices. So that's why we are autonomous. We can really make decisions based on our own willingness, because we are able to take the responsibility for those consequences. But how to treat others? We also treat others as those who are autonomous. We collaborate with others, we connect, we trust others, we respect others, we show empathy and communicate to others. We see that others are same with us, and we are equal individuals. so that we can have some kind of interactions on the basis of equality. So that is what autonomy means. When people are really mature, when people really have autonomy, they can make choices based on their own willingness. They can be responsible for the consequences of every choice that they make. Life scripts. Life scripts are from life scripts are some kind of beliefs that we have, and we must live based on those life scripts. It's just like scripts for a drama or for a film. Every person, every actor acts based on that script. So life scripts are the scripts in our life. We must live, we must act, we must talk based on that scripts. And those life scripts are generally from the parental teachings in the early life, from the culture, from the early decisions, from early life experiences. So actually the past form what we are nowadays, right now. And those life scripts already become a part of ourself, and also become part of our identity. We are identified with those beliefs in our mind. So those are life scripts. What are the injunctions? The injunctions are related to life scripts. Injunctions that are the messages or beliefs that children incorporate to their own self-concept or self-identity. So injunctions are like some messages or some beliefs that are inserted in our minds when we are really young. So there are some example injunctions like don't be important, don't grow, don't be a child, don't be yourself, don't make mistakes, and something like that. And sometimes the injunctions are conflicting with our life experiences. For example, sometimes we always make mistakes, but the injunction says don't make mistakes. So there is a conflict. Okay, so the next important concept is a therapy is called the rational emotive behavioral therapy, or REBT. That's a theory developed by Albert Ellis. You know about what this theory is about. The assumption of that is that in childhood there are some inaccurate or irrational beliefs in childhood. So we have those irrational and inaccurate beliefs or injunctions in our life. And when we grow up, we still have those. But those beliefs create a lot of emotional and behavioral problems. So that the REBT helps us to like get rid of those irrational and inaccurate beliefs and help us to have the healthy behavior and emotional patterns. So the specific pattern of how problems happen is that there are 3 steps. In step A, something happens. And B, we have a explanation or we have a belief about that event. That belief is not rational, it doesn't make sense, it's not right, it's not accurate. But we have those. We are young, we were young. We have those beliefs. we believe that that was true, but that was not, in fact. And when we grow up, we still have those beliefs. And there are some emotional and behavioral consequences of those beliefs. Irrational emotive behavioral therapy help us to cut off the connection between A and B. So the event A does not lead to that consequence or does not lead to that belief B. So patients or the clients in the therapy know that, oh, okay, so that my belief was not right, was not rational. I can build another set of beliefs responding to that event in childhood. When the belief is not there, the emotional and the behavioral problems are not there anymore. So that's the basic mechanism to cure the patients in the rational emotive behavioral therapy, or REBD. And the next concept is inner parent. So inner parent is like attitudes and beliefs that we have about ourselves and others. And those attitudes and beliefs are actually injunctions are from that we get from our parents. It's a feeling that our parents are living in our mind. So that's why it's called inner parent. It's actually a metaphor, but it's really interesting. And also, the last concept we need to know about is mindfulness. Mindfulness is a state of mind in which people are aware of every stimuli in the present moment. So people super focus on the present moment, super focus on what is going on in the present moment, and aware of any signal from internal or external. And people do not judge any stimuli. People just accept every stimuli as it is. They do not distort, they do not ignore any incoming stimuli from the present moment, from the environment or from the internal side of the physical body. So that is mindfulness. So there will be more about mindfulness in chapter 5, actually. Yeah, so I think, and also in chapter 5 is there's some content about the mindfulness, and also need a review about mindfulness. And that's it for chapter 3. So next, let's go to chapter 4. So in chapter 4, there are also 4 questions. You can notice that so far every chapter has 4 questions. Chapter 4 is about about wellness and the physical body. So first of all, you need to know the definition of wellness. You need to understand what wellness refers to. And also next is about the benefits of sleep or the necessity of sleep, why we need to sleep. What happens if we have enough sleep? Yeah, so you can see the body can be refreshed, and also our body recovers from stress, and also sleep provides energy. We get really energetic after enough sleep. And also we need to know the consequences of sleep deprivation. What happens if sleep is not enough? So you can say if there's not enough sleep, people are vulnerable to emotional upset because they cannot really control their emotions well. They lack the self-control. And also they are vulnerable to stress. And also a lot of cognitive abilities are weakened, such as worse attention, worse motor coordination. They cannot control their bodies very well. And also slower reaction time, and also worse decision-making process. And also the creativity and the productivity are negatively influenced. And also they're vulnerable to depression and anxiety. People are more likely to be anxious and depressed when there is not enough sleep. So basically, sleep provides the energy, allows the brain, allows the body to recover. If there isn't enough sleep, people's cognitive functioning and other stuff like emotional control, so all kinds of functioning in the brain are weakened actually if there is not enough sleep. And the next, benefits of exercise. Yeah, you can see in this slide, all these are the benefits of fitness or exercise. More sleep, better nutritional health, resistance to some kind of infectious disease, because the immune system can be stronger if there's more exercise. And also lower risk of cancers, lower risk of heart diseases, lower risk of a lot of diseases, stronger circulation and lung functions. And also exercise can help us calm down, so can reduce anger, reduce tension and anxiety. And also there's higher level of happiness or well-being, and a higher level of self-confidence or self-esteem. And people do not get fat that easily, and also help us reduce stress. Yeah, so there are a lot of benefits of exercise. And also next point is spirituality. So we need to know what spirituality is. So it's a feeling that people feel that they are connected to the universe, or there's a channel between self and the universe, or and some kind of supernatural beings. And also spirituality is a way to find a meaning and purpose in life. And it brings a lot of benefits also: health, well-being, purpose in life, and also help us to self-actualize. And also we need to understand the reasons why people do not accept their body image and body weight. So we talk about body image and body weight afterwards. Because they cannot totally accept themselves. And body image and body weight are just specific channels or ways to express their attitude toward themselves. They cannot accept themselves totally, so that if their body image and body weight are not that perfect, they do not accept that part of themselves. They think that they're inferior compared to others. So the body image or body weight these issues are more psychological rather than physical or biological. Okay, so that's for chapter 4. And next we go to chapter 5, managing stress. So for chapter 5, managing stress, we need to know what stress is. It's a reaction to threats in life. And there are some events that cause stress. And also there are some reactions. We have some reactions to those events. And there's some psychological health or physical health problems related to stress. And the sources of stress are stressors. The stress, you can see a lot of sources of stress, a lot of stressors may come from the environment, some undesirable elements in the environment, and also from inside ourselves, from our mind, from our feelings. If there is feeling of frustration, or the motivations are conflict each other, there can be stress. And also we need to know the 3 types of internal conflicts. There's approach conflict. That is, we want to get 2 things at the same time, but we can only choose one out of 2. That is approach conflict. Avoidance conflict is that we want to avoid 2 things, or we want neither of the 2 things, but we have to get one. That is avoidance conflict. There are 2 bad things. We must get one of them. And there is approach avoidance conflict. It means that there are 2 options. There are 2 things. 2 things both have positive and negative elements. There are pros and cons for each option. So we must balance. We must consider which one to choose. So that is approach avoidance conflict. All these conflicts result in stress. And the next one is fight or flight response. That is the biological mechanism that cause stress in the physical body. So the stress is not only psychological, but it's also biological. So every one of us have the fight or flight response when we face physical threat or we face any kind of a threat. This response will happen in our body, and we have reactions to it. That is used for responding to threats in life. And next point, consequences of stress. There are a lot of negative consequences of stress. You can see there are a lot of psychological reactions like chronic stress, the stress that is really long-term, anxiety, depression, burnout. And what is worse is that some people get post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So yeah, during that, we need to know what burnout is. It's really long-term symptoms coming from long-term stress. Physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually, people are really exhausted. And they don't have a physical energy. There's chronic fatigue. They're tired all the time. And they do not have energy. They feel helpless because their intellectual capacity is exhausting. They feel hopeless. Their emotional capacity is exhausting. They cannot really think well. They cannot really make good decisions. All that. That is burnout. And also there are some healthy physical health problems because of stress, like psychosomatic disorders such as inflammation, hypertension, asthma, vulnerable immune system. Body cannot work well under stress. Also physical illness such as cancer, headaches, cardiovascular diseases, and a shorter life. And there are even more negative consequences of stress. Okay, so let's go to resilience and hardiness. So there are individual differences in responding to stress. For same events, some people recover very fast, but some people cannot recover that fast. They have poor reactions to stress. Why is that? Because people are different in their resilience level. So resilience is the ability or capacity to recover from stressful events. And why people are resilient? Because the resilient people are hardy. So what is hardiness? There are three aspects of hardiness. And for hardy people, they have a preference for challenges. They like challenges. They like to overcome challenges. And also second, they have a really strong sense of commitment. They're really committed to realizing their goals. They do not easily give up. And also they have an internal locus of control. It means that they believe that they can influence, they can control the outcomes of external events. The control is under them instead of under external environment. They think that they can control their fate or destiny. So these are the three features of hardness. If they like challenges, if they have a really strong sense of commitment, and if they have a really high internal locus of control, they are really hardy, so that they are really resilient. They can recover really quickly from stressful events. Meditation. Next one is meditation. So meditation is one of the responses that work in order to overcome or reduce stress. So mindfulness is also a way to reduce stress. You can see there are a lot of responses we talk about, but we only cover meditation and mindfulness. So make sure that we know what the meditation and mindfulness are, and the effects of meditation and mindfulness. So you can see there are some basic principles of mindfulness. So that's what happened during when people are mindful. Meditation is a practice in which people are mindful. It's a more like a practice. It's a method to have some kind of bodily changes, such as deep reflection or deep breathing. Okay, that's it is chapter 5, and next we go to chapter 6. So chapter 6 is about love, and there are two things that we need to know about, but these two things there are a lot of content in these two items. The first one is the characteristics of authentic love, and we have talked about them a lot. And you can see all these are the features of real love. This, and this, and this. So what are the basic principles? So I think the basic principle is that in real love, people can be their true self. Real love helps people grow. So actually, the people who love each other actually help each other out, help each other grow. So you can see if there's real love, people know that person, care about that person, respect that person, allow the person to be their real self, their true self, and trust that person, would like to stay with that person. but not addicted to that person. Have a commitment to that person. And also allow that person to be real, allow for imperfection, and give the love without any conditions. Do not control that person. And these are the characteristics of authentic love. So on the contrary, and also we need to know about characteristics of fake love or inauthentic love. The really apparent feature of inauthentic love is that that is controlling. That is not real love. That is controlling. That is judging. And there is no trust. There's no commitment. There's no forgiveness. There's no willingness to share. If people give the love with any conditions, that is inauthentic love. So for real love, there is no condition. But for inauthentic love, love is given based on a lot of conditions, based on a lot of standards. That is actually a way to control that person instead of loving that person. Yeah, we have a lot of other stuff, but that's the only thing that we need to know about for this chapter. Let's go to chapter 7. Chapter 7 is about relationships. There are 3 questions from this chapter. First of all, we need to know the features of meaningful relationships or good relationships. So these are the keywords of meaningful relationships. In a good relationship or meaningful relationship, everyone is equal. Everyone is no one is superior over the other. So they are all independent. They should respect each other, and they are honest toward each other. And they do not expect the other to do something for them, because everyone is independent. Everyone is responsible for their own actions and emotions. And they can enjoy together. They can find the meaning outside of their relationship. It's okay to build some other relationships with other people. And also in a good relationship, people are getting better because in those relationships, people grow. People can be themselves. And that is really similar to real love. And there are some guidelines to manage conflicts and anger. So how to manage conflict, how to deal with anger, other people's anger. So first of all, the conflict may be a sign of individual differences. Sometimes it's not a sign of something wrong. And also treat the conflict or anger as something different. So how to treat that different? The principle is to really listen and understand what the other person says. And also make the other understand your own motivation, make the other understand your own intentions, and also talk about behaviors, talk about the other's behaviors instead of the personality of the other. Let's just talk about their behaviors, not who they are. And also directly face the conflict instead of avoiding the conflict. And these are the principles to manage conflicts. And also the next point is the suggestions to communicate well, how to have a good communication. There are a lot of suggestions. It's really similar to conflict management, first principle is that listen and understand. Make sure that the listener can really accurately summarize what the speaker said. That is not easy to do. So that is a sign of really understanding. So really listen, understand what the other said. And during the communication, use some specific and concrete words rather than some really vague and broad words so that people cannot really understand. And make personal statements means that talk about your opinions instead of asking a lot of questions. Asking questions sometimes is a way of judging the other. And another really big principle is no judging. Do not judging the personality of the other. Just talk about the facts, talk about the behaviors, and talk about the feelings, not the judging, not the having any moral judgment. And be honest, that's for sure. Be honest and direct. Make sure that everyone is understanding each other. So that's it for the suggestions of effective communication. And this is chapter 7, and let's go to chapter 8. So for chapter 8, there are only 2 questions. Chapter 8 is about gender. So first of all, we need to know what is gender. It's a subjective feeling of being male or being female. And we need to know the difference between sex and gender. Sex is a biological feature. It's more like it's more likely to refer to the biological feature of the physical body, the male body or female body. But gender is more like identity. It's more like a psychological feeling about themselves. And we can know about the stereotypes of men and stereotypes of women. So there's a lot of stereotypes about men or males. You can see all this. And basically, they're about not expressing emotions, not showing the weakness, not showing the true self and stuff. That is the expectations of men sometimes in the society. And stereotypes of women. So all these stereotypes are about treating women as some kind of a supportive people, like they need to warm, they need to expressive, they need to be nurturing, they need to be not independent, nor not assertive, not strong, not powerful, and all that. And that's it for chapter 8. There are 2 questions, and the chapter 9 is about sexuality. And also there are 2 questions from this chapter. And only 2 things to know about for this chapter: mutual empathy and intimacy in the scope. So mutual empathy is this. We need to make sure that we know what mutual empathy is. The awareness that each partner cares for the other and knows this care is reciprocated. And next one is intimacy. Intimacy is a feeling, it's a deep level of caring for the another. So when we say these people are intimate, means that they deeply care for each other. And intimacy is a really important part of sexual relationships. In some kind of sexual relationships, there can be no intimacy, but intimacy is definitely an important part. if there is one. Okay, so let's go to chapter 10. For chapter 10 is about work, majorly about work, career or occupation, other related topics. So there are 3 questions coming from chapter 10. So let's see what's inside. First of all, we need to know what are the factors to consider when making a career decision. When we want to choose the career, what kind of factors to consider? So we talk about attitudes, we talk about abilities, we talk about values, motivation, and interests. All these that are the factors that we need to consider. And also what kind of people we are, like personality types. So the next point is Holland's 6 personality types. So we need to know each of the 6 personality types. What the characteristics of these personality types, what they like doing, and what they value. So these 2 tables are really helpful to review these 6 types. And you can see there are investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, conventional, and realistic. And next, we need to know what the leisure is. Leisure is something we do outside of work. And also there are some benefits of leisure. And in leisure time, we can control the time, we can do the stuff that we really want to do. We can reduce the stress because we have the control of the time. And next we go to chapter 11. So for chapter 11, it is about loneliness and solitude. And there are 2 questions from this chapter. So we know, we need to know 3 things. First one, loneliness. And the second one, solitude. So they are similar, but they are different. Loneliness is a phenomenon that people are alone, feel lonely, but they have to be lonely. There is a sense of have to. For some reasons, they are just alone and they feel lonely. Solitude is the deliberate choice. They choose to be alone. So they make it possible to be alone. That is solitude. Shyness is another psychological phenomenon. That's the negative reactions in interpersonal situations, because people are super self-aware, and there is a lot of discomfort in the social interactions, so that people are shy. There are some characteristics. They're too sensitive to interpersonal stuff, and they get very easily embarrassed. They're super self-conscious. They're monitoring themselves all the time during the social interactions, because they want to make sure that everything they do, everything they say are appropriate. They're so scared of being awkward or embarrassed in the social interactions. So as a result, they have some inhibited behaviors. They want to do something, but they stop doing that. And they may have some biological symptoms such as muscle tension or increased heart rate because they are too nervous. And that is chapter 11. And chapter 2 is about death and loss. There are 2 chapters about 2 questions from this chapter. So first of all, we need to know the 5 stages of dying. So the 5 stages tell us like how people deal with the fact that they're dying soon. They're going to pass away very soon. So there are 5 stages that they need to go through. First of all, they deny what may happen in the future. And second, they find out that they cannot deny at all. So they are angry, they're frustrated, they get anger. And the third, they found that being angry does not really help. So they bargain with somebody or bargain with anything, bargain with supernatural beings to, they want to have more time to live. They can exchange anything with more time to live. And later they found that the bargaining doesn't work at all. So that they are really helpless. So they are depressed. And then finally, probably they go to the final stage. They finally accept the reality that they are going to pass away very soon. So the final stage is acceptance. And the next concept, we need to know what grief is. And grief is related to mourning. So grief and mourning are for the people who are still alive, but for the people whose family members or who have people they love, who have somebody they love pass away. So how do they deal with the fact that somebody they love passed away? So they need to have a psychological process called grief or bereavement. They need to explore the feelings generated by this event. They must be sad, they must be painful, they must not accept the fact. The mourning is another aspect of this process. It's something that the people do. It's more like group activities. So they express the feeling of bereavement externally. So for example, they go to the funeral and everyone in the funeral express the sadness. So that is activity that reflect mourning. So both grief and mourning help us to recover from the sadness, recover from this traumatic event, and also help us to go to the next step, find a new meaning in life, move on to the next step in life. So these are about chapter 12, and finally we can go to the final chapter about meaning and values. There are also 2 questions from this chapter, meaning and values. So we can know some basic concepts such as philosophy of life. That's the philosophy of life, including some beliefs, attitudes, and values that we hold in our mind. Those beliefs and attitudes are so fundamental that they control our life, control our behaviors. We just act based on those philosophy of life. And also there are values. That values are core beliefs that influence us how we act. So in chapter 2 and 3, we talk about how we learn the values from our parents, from culture. They become life scripts now, or they become injunctions. So values are really important for everybody because those are the core beliefs that one holds. And those core beliefs heavily influence how people act. And also there are approaches to find meaning in life. There are a lot of ways to find meaning in life. So there can be there can be the way to be really spiritual, we can ask a lot of ultimate questions and building the connections with the world, with the supernatural beings in the world. So we can be spiritual to find the meaning in life. And also we can hold some basic values that are really important and that can help us to find meaning, such as love, such as forgiveness, such as compassion, and so forth. And we can find meaning by connecting with others. If we have connections, we have more meanings. How to connect with others? Respect the other, respect other people, embrace the diversity of the uniqueness of humankind, uniqueness of everyone. And also, we need to aware that there are all kinds of stereotypes, prejudice, and racism existing in the society, existing in people's mind. And because of those beliefs, we cannot really connect with others. We cannot really understand other people. And also, people can pursue some interests, social interests, such as making a world a better place. So it's a way to connect it to the larger world instead of just staying alone. Just pursue some personal interests, pursue the social interests, benefiting the society is also a way to find meaning in life. And also, people can find meaning by improving themselves, such as reading a lot of books, writing journals to have more self-reflections, or go into counseling sessions to have more understanding of themselves. So there can be more ways to find a meaning in life. These are the things that we have talked about in our class. And I think that's all the stuff we can go over and review. And if you have any questions, please contact me. If you have anything that you still do not understand or have confusions with in terms of this knowledge, you can contact me and I can explain to you or clarify some knowledge with you. And also this week, prepare for the final exam next week. And take your time to review all this stuff. And we have learned a lot of good stuff. And also make sure that you also submit the presentation assignment. So the presentation assignment is still at the on the last day of this semester, May 12th. Make sure that you submit the presentation and also prepare for the final exam. And also make sure that you submit every assignment, journal assignment, or any surveys. And it's okay to be late. If you haven't submitted any some assignments, you can write them or do them, submit before the end of this semester. And I hope that you have a really good experience in this class and take your time to prepare for the final exam and the presentation. And have a good week. Bye-bye.